Alaska's Kenai Peninsula is one of the most scenically beautiful places on Earth. From verdant forests that hug miles and miles of coastline to glacier-capped peaks, the Kenai Peninsula offers a wide variety of adventures for the traveler. It is said that it would take more than a lifetime to see all of Alaska. The Kenai is a good place to start. And the Alaska Railroad is a great introduction to it. In the land of adventurers, Kim and Roy Corral and their children Hannah and Ben are in a class of their own. Together they have braved some of Alaska's remotest wilderness. Alaskans call their state the last frontier. Everyone who has been here has their favorite Alaska place and story. Today's rail journey is high on everyone's list. It takes us through a part of the state that can only be seen from the train. The pride of the railroad's passenger service. The tour guides provide information and commentary on the routes and sites.
Would you like another set, or you want to share that? We'll just share them. Okay.
They're students at the top of their class who are chosen through a highly competitive process.
We're now crossing over O'Malley Road. If you look up to the left, up this hill,
like the hills in the distance, the tour guides are filled with nuggets of Alaskan gold. The route from Anchorage to Seward is strewn with Alaskan history.
But when these homes were built about 20 to 25 years ago, the backyard airstrip was still a very common thing in the city of Anchorage. Half of the communities established
keep their airplanes in their house.
Only accessible by aircraft.
Because they
To
don't
get
have,
around Alaska, flying is
it's like a garage.
one in
They
every
get
58
to
Alaskans.
fly right out of their
One in every
yard.
58 Alaskans owning a small aircraft. That's the highest rate of the United States by far.
Today's journey will be a mild adventure by the Corral standards, but it will give them a leisurely look at a part of the state that even these veteran backcountry travelers have never seen. One of the exciting things about Alaska is the variety of wildlife that can be viewed almost anywhere. Doll sheep are commonly seen along the rail and highways just outside Anchorage. These playful animals feed on the hillsides and can easily negotiate seemingly vertical cliffs and rocky slopes. The engineer will routinely slow or even stop the train when the sheep are close enough to get a good view. The rails skirt the shore of Turnagain Arm. It was named in 1778 by the British explorer Captain James Cook, whose ships had to turn again and turn again to avoid the mudflats. Sea life can often be seen from the train, and a view of a soaring bald eagle is always exciting.
Right there. The tide. Did you see the tide rushing through that? Kind of pretty.
Turnagain Arm has the world's second highest tidal range. It can vary 30 feet from low to high tide and moves extremely swiftly. When the conditions are right, a boar tide may be seen. It occurs when the rising water backs up behind a shallow, narrow channel. The resulting wave can be up to 6 feet high. Harry Ross is el numero uno, the senior conductor on the Alaskan Railroad. He can choose any run. He chooses this one.
When I was about 20 years old, I wanted to do something in transportation, and I applied for a job at the airlines and at the Alaska Railroad, and I got a chance to come to the railroad before I got to fly, so I've been here for 30 years now. I like showing the state off. It's a beautiful place. People don't really realize what they're missing by not coming to visit. We see quite a bit of wildlife. We see bear. Around springtime, we see a lot of foxes and wolverines and wolves. And this time of year, during the summer, during the tourist season, we see a heck of a lot of moose out there.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bill. I'm one of the other tour guides on the train today. I'll be helping Alex give commentary.
Well, the tour guide program, this started back in probably about 1985. The tour guides, they come out of high school and they all apply for these different jobs. And they go through a class that lasts about 4 months. And they learn all these different aspects about Alaska. And we put these tour guides on our trains, and they learn the different scenery parts along the way, and then they relay all that information to the passengers and answer questions that are asked them, and it's just a wonderful program. Yeah, it's nothing more beautiful than the scenery up here in Alaska. So, you know, we see something different every day, and it's just beautiful.
The mountains and sea in this area are part of the Chugach State Park. It's the largest state park in our nation, and it covers about 500,000 acres. It's Anchorage's backyard wilderness with a number of hiking trails up into the mountains.
Alaska's majestic scenery and the lure of its opportunities has changed the course of many lives, among them mountaineer Art Davidson.
I guess it was just dumb luck that brought me to Alaska. I was going to start a job down near Vancouver, Washington, fishing for salmon, and the job fell through, and I had my mountain climbing stuff with me, and I figured I'd hitchhike a few miles and get a job and climb some mountains, and one of the first people that picked me up was coming up to Alaska. So when you're standing by a road and somebody offers you a 2,000-mile ride, it's hard to pass up. So we came on up the highway, and you know, the darndest thing happened. We crossed the Canadian border and started driving into Alaska. And I had this, I just had this inner feeling that I was coming home. I hadn't intended to come here. I'd never really thought about Alaska, but you just drive along, you've got these big valleys, you know, they stretch out forever, and mountain ranges and glaciers tumbling down, and sometimes you see eagles flying around and out there in the trees. And for me, the kind of things that I just loved, this was just like coming home. For me, there was never a question of just visiting and leaving. I know a lot of people come up here and they enjoy our state, they see the animals. But for me, it was this feeling of just belonging to the land and the country. And the longer I stayed, like a lot of my friends, there's something that just grabs a hold of you. Part of it's the seasons, part of it's the land, part of it's just being able to get out in the country. Being in this beautiful grove of trees reminds me, a few years ago, I read in the morning paper that they were going to cut all the trees down in this little valley south of Anchorage. So I called a few friends and we raised a little protest. You know, there weren't any conservation organizations and there weren't any state parks or anything, but we just felt that these special places had to be saved, you know, so that kids could always go out and hike and families could go out, and we'd have these beautiful mountains near Anchorage. So we persuaded them to stop the logging, and then we took the next step and said, well, we ought to have a state park here. And so we got out some maps and taped them together, and took a magic marker, and several of us just started including this valley and that mountain and all the special places that we knew from hiking and climbing. And we took it to the legislature, and kind of to our surprise, they created a state park, and it turned out to be the largest one in the country. But it meant a lot to us because we know now that a lot of these special places, streams, these forests, these trees, a lot of the places where the moose, sheep go, they're going to be here. They'll be here for our kids and for all time. Some of us live in towns and cities up here, but you know, some of the people live along the railroad, and it's really their lifeline. You know, it's their only way to get in and out of their cabins or their homes. Sometimes they'll have, you know, their groceries dropped off beside the road, or they'll go out and flag down the train, and the train will stop for them. I think it's probably the way the trains were across the country 50, 60, 100 years ago. So I've got some friends up north by Denali, and the train is their daily way of life. They couldn't live without it.
Right over there. See that? And that's beautiful. Look at that. Oh, man. And it's nest right there.
Flying is a way of life for many of Alaska's human inhabitants. A World War II aviator, Alaska's bushrat governor, Jay Hammond, is a character of legendary magnitude.
When I first came up here, it was a land of untrammeled wilderness. There were 70,000 people in the state, 32,000 in Anchorage. I thought it was a little crowded, but not too bad. Now, with 600,000, it seems teeming. But back then, if you wanted to become a bush pilot, you became a bush pilot. You wanted to be a commercial fisherman, you took up commercial fishing. If you wanted to be a guide, you could work toward that. Now, while those doors aren't completely closed, they're much more difficult to enter. The beauty of the mountains and the lakes and the vast expanses themselves, unique species of game, unique species of fish, and I think Alaskan people are a unique breed unto themselves. Being Alaskan is in the eye of the beholder. Some would think it was a rugged individualist that lived off the land, quote unquote, and yet living off the land gets tedious after a while. That land don't taste so good, according to one old-timer friend of mine. So while they have a romanticized vision of themselves as being hardy Alaskans, most of us are not. We live in a rather civilized manner, and while we like to have folk from elsewhere think that we're in a unique breed, we're really pretty much like everybody else. Here in Alaska, you can live your own lifestyle without feeling you have to conform. And I think this inclines folks to reach for stars they otherwise might never have even observed.
Girdwood, on the slope of Mount Alyeska, was originally a mining town. It's now home of the luxurious Alyeska Ski Resort.
See the engine up there?
It'll take us 6.5 minutes, and we'll travel just a little less than a mile on the cable.
Keep your eyes out because we are spotting black bears and brown bears and moose. They are out there, and I just saw a bald eagle up in the trees too, so I'll kind of let you know where we've been seeing these animals.
Well, we're here right now at Alyeska Resort, which is about 40 miles south of Anchorage and is the largest year-round resort that we have in Alaska. We got a beautiful tramway. It's a 60-passenger tram that rises over 2,000 foot above the valley floor to the top. That is one of our major attractions, both summer and winter, for the skiers as well as for the tourists and sightseers in the summertime. Nearby we have the beautiful moose meadow for cross-country skiing, for dog mushing. Also, right within 5 minutes from here, we have the Girdwood Airport. From there, you can go flight seeing in the surrounding areas. Some most spectacular country in the Prince William Sound, over glaciers, over fjords, see the wildlife both in the mountains as well as in the ocean. If you stay here at the hotel and you want to have some outdoor excursions or fishing expeditions, we can arrange it right here through our concierge desk. We always like to share our fishing stories and maybe exaggerate a little bit, and we don't necessarily always tell our secret fishing holes, but I think we would try to give them some good honest tips, because we are happy if the guest catches a fish, then he's a satisfied guest.
What time does it get dark? It gets sort of dusky around 1 in the morning now, something like that.
We have one of the finest dining rooms up on top, the Seven Glacier restaurant.
Seven Glaciers restaurant is up the stairs and through the door.
It's something that we really hope to give our guests a quality experience where they not only enjoy the hotel accommodations and its facilities, but in an environment where they feel really truly welcome, really truly feel a home away from home.
Crow Creek Mine is a place frozen in time. It's preserved by its owners as a slice of life of Alaska's early gold miners. The thrill of discovering a little color in the bottom of the pan awaits the visitor who is willing to spend some time hand-washing a few pounds of gravel in Crow Creek's icy waters. Sean Toohey has lived and worked here with his family since he was a child.
Group of kids you are. Everybody is going to pan this dirt, find the gold, and put it in your bottle. Panning, here we go. Put your gravel in your pan. Not here, sorry. When you get up to the panning shed, put your gravel in your pan, add your pan to the water, and shake it. The first thing that happens is it's all muddy water. That's good. You want to pour the mud out. Take in clean water and shake it. Repeat this process quite a few times. What you're doing is washing your gravel. Remember, the dirt goes out with the water. The gravel and the rocks stay in the pan. Turn it over and swirl it. The water washes the light material off the top. Anything heavy is going to sit here, which is or was the lowest part of the pan.
I see some.
Okay? That is what it looks like when it comes out of the ground.
Awesome.
That is pure, natural Alaskan gold.
Beaver Lodge and the Beaver Pond, so you want to keep an eye out for that. There is lots of beaver activity in this area. They do feed on the wood, the willow and the alder and the birch trees. And in the summertime they're very busy building up their dams and their lodges and building a winter food cache. It's pretty simple on the outside, just a pile of sticks or dirt. It's actually a two-story dwelling, with the bottom story where they eat and dry off, and the top story where they sleep and play cards.
Look at the glaciers hanging up there.
Oh, wow, look at that.
The Kenai Kenai Mountains are nature's living sculpture garden. The land, shaped by glaciers, is still being ground and pushed by massive sheets of ice. Ancient accumulations of snowfall have been transformed to ice so dense that it is like rock. Moose Pass is home to around 200 people and many more moose. Ed Estes and his water-powered sharpening stone are Moose Pass icons.
Moose Pass is a peaceful little town if you got an axe to grind here. Many people don't realize what that means. It means if you got a chip on your shoulder, knock it off here, don't come in town.
The Summer Festival is a fun family affair for people from all over the region.
The next generation.
She's my little granddaughter.
I was just 6 years old when they come up here. I was born in 1911, come up here in 17. And when your mother's got a hold of your hand, you go over a bluff that she goes over, you know. So that's the way I got up here. Now, it's considered sourdough now. It's genuine sourdough. You know what a sourdough is? The sourdough is a guy that's sour on the country and can't make dough enough to get the hell out.
With his family gathered around him, Ed Estes got out, peacefully, on September 5th, 1996. He will be fondly remembered by those who ground their axes at his wheel or across the counter of his general store. There are many desirable destinations in summertime Alaska that are only accessible by float plane. Internationally known for fabulous fishing and fine food, River Song Lodge is one of those distinctive places.
Carl, yeah, good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you.
I'm aboard here. There's a fish on. Doggone it. My wife Kirsten and I worked at the Alaska Native Medical Center. She's trained as an ICU nurse, and I'm an audiologist. And we had very busy jobs there, and we found we didn't have any time together. We worked long hours, and I know a lot of people feel that way, don't have much time for themselves. So we had also a small rafting and fishing business that we did on the weekends. It was our real passion, the out of doors. So we bought a small homesteaded cabin at the mouth of Lake Creek here, and naively opened up our doors to take people fishing and rafting. And doing that, making that bold move from the city to a rural area, allowed us each to pursue our avocations as well and turn it into a different lifestyle and a living.
Very good.
Some people call this place romantic river song, and I think our lifestyle does have a certain romance to it. Every day is different. Every day brings unique challenges. The seasons certainly bring unique situations for us. We have weather that is as cold as 65 below zero here in the wintertime. We have to be self-sufficient.
For her imaginative preparation of Alaska's regional cuisine, Kirsten is world-renowned.
Kirsten was able to pursue a culinary interest, and she's mostly self-trained. She spent some time in Cambridge Culinary Institute, and she found her way to study in France. And I had always been interested in doing remote river float trips, whitewater adventures. That was the perfect blending.
Welcome to the Riversong Lodge kitchen. As you can see, we're busy preparing for a salmon barbecue this afternoon. At the Riversong kitchen, we prepare everything fresh here, and mostly our herbs and spices are gathered from our garden. This is a wild Alaska rose called a Nootka rose that grows all over in the woods here. We use these wild roses this time of year for salad garnish. The petals also have a lovely almond flavor to them that we use in cookies and soups, etc. This is lemon thyme, which is really a lovely herb for fish. Fish obviously is a big item in our kitchen, and we're grilling red salmon today.
I don't want to start looking like these guys.
I'm not quite sure what is this.
That's compound butter. It's just herbs and butter. That's what we call it.
So what Alaska has to offer really is its wildness and its pristine beauty. And I really hope that anyone traveling to Alaska has the opportunity to see the true nature of Alaska and the true nature of how Alaskans live.
To be truly seen, Alaska should be viewed from the eagle's perspective. From his base on Upper Trail Lake, Vern Kingsford of Scenic Mountain Air offers an unparalleled flight-seeing experience.
The very optimum situation where a person could just really experience Alaska is to get in one of my small float planes here or one of my planes down in Seward and fly and become part of Alaska. The flight seeing experience, and I'm getting this from the passengers we carry. We've carried over 2,000 passengers the last 3 or 4 years here in Moose Pass. And when they get out, they're just overwhelmed.
Oh, fabulous, fantastic. I highly recommend it.
Huge. Words can't describe it, and pictures I don't think that can describe it. You have to come here in person and see it.
We saw mountain goats, we saw glaciers, we saw ice fields, places where there are no footprints ever.
The Harding Ice Field is the crown of the Kenai Fjords National Park. More than 30 named glaciers are within its 700 square mile area.
That glacier, man.
We'll have to look can do skiing back here.
Yeah, I think. I wonder if this train runs during the winter time. I think it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. I wonder if there's a lake at the base of that.
There he goes.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Mike, give me a call, Roy. Nice seeing you again.
Good to see you again.
Yeah,
It's great.
really. Okay, we got everybody.
It was their mutual love of outdoor adventures that brought Kim and Roy Corral together. For a number of years, Roy was the photo editor of Alaska Magazine. Kim has written, and Roy's photographed and written numerous articles on life in Alaska's wilderness. Daughter Hannah is co-author of their book, My Denali. She colorfully recounts their family experiences camping in and wandering the wilds of Denali National Park. Today's journey has brought them to Kenai Fjords National Park and the foot of Exit Glacier, one of the 33 named glaciers of the vast Harding ice field.
We often heard that once you have kids, it's going to stop. It's all going to change. And we thought, we love getting out into Alaska's backcountry, and we just decided that even if we have to go at half the pace or a quarter of the pace, we're going to get out there and keep doing the things we love doing and share it with our kids. And
I don't think we've ever had a time where we said, we're going to leave the kids behind. We've always dragged them along, whether they liked it or not.
do you notice how the temperature kind of drops right here? It's a little cooler right beside the glacier.
Yeah.
Can you feel it?
Yeah, there's a lot of temperature changes right here.
Yeah.
Ice crack. Gets smushed.
We heard it crack earlier. See, this is the one that we heard earlier that fell off, I think.
Getting cooled off.
The ice cave's under there. That's pretty dangerous. They don't want people to climb under there.
The wilderness is a classroom where we learn a lot of things about the cycle of life and about our relationship to that cycle, our relationship to each other.
And I hope that, you know, after our kids grow up, wherever they go, whatever they do in life, they'll be able to look back and realize that, you go first. You know, they have a strong sense of who they are, and that foundation was built both at home and in the wild, where we spend so much of our time. Stay with Mom. You can lead. Let's see. You can walk right up on that hill. Okay. The train ride was excellent. It was a great way to see Alaska's backcountry and get out and watch some wildlife, and a very pleasant day out there.
Historian and local museum curator Lee Poleski conducts entertaining and fact-filled walking tours of Seward.
One thing I like about Seward is they leave you alone if you want to be left alone. If you want to join in, they welcome you in. You can pretty well lead the life you want to lead. I came here in August of 1964 to see what it was like, and enjoyed the town, liked the town. And one year went into another and another and another. Just kept staying. It's going to be 32 years now in August.
Located on ice-free Resurrection Bay, Seward was founded in 1903 as the ocean terminus of the Alaska Central Railway.
Seward was literally the gateway to Alaska. If you came to Alaska in the 20s and the 30s, you came to Seward. You came by boat, the boats docked at Seward, and you took the railroad north.
The construction of the Alaska Railroad was a monumental undertaking. Engineering problems abounded. 2 privately funded companies went bankrupt before the government stepped in to complete the route at a cost of nearly $60 million.
The Alaska Railroad was started in 1915 and completed in 1923. And President Harding came to Alaska to drive the Golden Spike, symbolizing the completion of the construction. And he landed here in Seward. And the mayor at that time felt that this would probably be the only time the children in the town would ever see a president. And so they had a special reception where the president met every kid in town. There was a little glitch in the schedule, and they had a whole extra day. And so the mayor, who at the time was L.V. Ray, approached the president and said, what would you like us to do? Would you like a banquet? Would you like a parade? What would you like? And President Harding said, I would just like a day of peace. If you could just, let me walk around, enjoy the city. And so the mayor that night sent word out, there was about 400 people in town at that time, not to bother the president the next day. If he talked to you, talk to him, but don't come up and talk about territorial politics or anything, or national politics. Just sort of leave the guy alone. And so the next day, the president, all by himself, walked around town, walked up to Main Street, went into the barbershop, got a haircut, went into a hardware store, talked to people, talked to kids, leaned on the fence, talked to some people doing their gardening, and in general just had a nice, pleasant day talking to the people of Seward. Brown Hawkins store over there is the oldest continuously operated store in Seward. Hawkins was in the original landing party on August 28, 1903. They operated a general store, sold about everything. They also had a bank in the store. You can still see the old vault back there. Not only is it the oldest continuously operated store in Seward, it's been in the same family. Hawkins, after he died, his daughter took over, and now his grandson operates the store.
Never have enough tank tops and shorts.
Hugh and Iris Darling currently operate the historic store.
As far as we know, Brown and Hawkins is the oldest family-owned business in the state.
In 1989, it became necessary for someone else to come up and run it in the family, and we were the only two that were at a point in our lives we could make a career change, and we decided, well, it'll be an adventure. So here we are, adventuring.
This is my first time in a small town, and I just wonder why I waste so much time in the big cities all my life. It's just great, I love it. Alaskans are different than any place else that you've ever been. They do have a distinct character about them.
There's no pretentiousness up here. You don't keep up with the Joneses.
Their status symbols are not a new Mercedes or something like that. It's a freezer full of meat and plenty of salmon.
It doesn't really matter who you are or what you've got. It's the quality of person that you are.
They're just good, genuine people that are just nice to be around.
You've seen so many of them.
Of course, the summers are just spectacular. You get about 22, 23 hours of sunshine, and it's just a fun, invigorating place to be. And I just can't think of any place better to be, really.
Entrepreneur Tom Tugas operates Kenai Fjords Tours with a personal touch, born of years of experience in the tourism industry.
I often say that Alaska is the Disneyland for adults, except generally there aren't the lines. You're able to see amazing things up close. You're able to make your choices. You're able to get to the wilderness fairly quickly. You can either be in places where there's concentrations of other people, or you can be off by yourself.
Rockwell Kent, the celebrated American artist and illustrator of such diverse literary classics as Melville's Moby Dick and Voltaire's Candide, was himself a pretty fair writer. For 7 months in the latter part of 1918 and the early part of 1919, Kent and his 9-year-old son lived on a small island in Resurrection Bay near Seward, Alaska. Kent kept a journal of his days on Fox Island. Alaska is a fairyland in the magic beauty of its mountains and waters. The virgin freshness of this wilderness and its utter isolation are a constant source of inspiration. Remote and free from contact with man, our life is simplicity itself. We work hard with back and hands, felling great trees, We row across 13 miles of treacherous water to the nearest town and the dangers of that trip. And the days and nights and weeks and months alone with my son, during which time I have learned to see his wonder world and know his heart. Such things are to me the glory of Alaska.
We had an opportunity to acquire the land on Fox Island, and we're able to find a spot that's magnificently situated for a wilderness lodge. And I find that every day customers have the same experience. They walk up the ramp, they look at the cove, they go a little further, and they look at the lake, and they all go, wow, this is what I was looking for in Alaska.
Dennis and Susan Swiderski are the hosts of the idyllic Fox Island Lodge.
Hello.
Their experience here has been transformational for them and for their children.
So many people that pass through on these cruises inquire as to how it was possible to do what we're doing and would give anything to do something like that. I think people perceive it as unique. I certainly do. I came out here a practicing attorney, and I've gone through various phases, which is kind of commonplace in Alaska.
We're pretty adventuresome people, and the idea of living on an island sounded good to us and our family. We enjoy people. We love talking with them and finding out where they're from and where they've traveled. And meal? And a good day?
Yeah. Hot tea? Lemonade? There you go. There's one. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Real good.
Let's see how Jonah's doing.
It's a unique opportunity for the boys. I think they recognize that in part. It's a paradise, truly, for them.
We don't have television on the island, and our children haven't had television for 6 years in the summer. It's wonderful for them to be away from that, and they are so imaginative and they're outside all the time. To see my boys playing and interacting with each other and the sea, instead of playing mechanical games or something, they're out throwing rocks endlessly or discovering new starfish. Or we have little kayaks for them here on the beach, and they each go out and kayak.
They have responsibilities and unlimited opportunities to explore and just be kids. So.
Life on the island has given not only the boys the freedom to explore and create, their mother's muse has been resurrected.
Living on the island has certainly provided Susan with tremendous incentive to paint. That's been on hold during the birth and early development of our children.
I stopped painting for about 9 years, and I think having these years where I had to put it aside has really helped me, because I'm a different person. I've grown, we've had wonderful experiences, and when I started painting this winter, it came very easily. And my paintings were richer than they'd been before, had more depth. This whole island experience, and Rockwell, Kent, having been here, I've really enjoyed that. It's spurred me on, I think.
Kent wrote of his impetus. Every day and almost all the day, I painted in frantic haste to catch a portion of the passing glory, painted in worship of the infinite beauty. Express myself, what sacrilege! Who talks when God is speaking? Of life on Fox Island, Kent wrote, "Here we have found ourselves, for the wilderness is nothing else. It is a kind of living mirror that gives back as its own all and only all that the imagination of a man brings to it."
Welcome today aboard the Kenai Star on Major Marine Tours out to Kenai Fjords National Park. My name is Ricky Geese. I'm the park ranger. Will be on board today providing the interpretation.
Interpretive rangers are well versed in the natural history, geology, and lore of the park.
The Alaska flag was designed here in Seward, and it shows how to find north. It's the North Star and the Big Dipper. And the two stars of the Big Dipper point to the North Star. And the personality of Alaska in this lands of extremes is you have to know where you are outside, and always be aware of the conditions. And living in that environment, it gives people a sense of who they are. And when you meet Alaskans, you definitely know where they stand. They'll tell you up front that if a person extends a hand out in a warm handshake, it means that they're happy to see you.
A calving tidewater glacier can shed sections of ice the size of a skyscraper, causing dangerous waves. These fjord glaciers have nearly vertical faces and can be over 1,000 feet high.
Fjord is a Norwegian term, and it means a bay that's been carved out by a glacier, and that glacier has receded, and that bay then is now filled in with seawater. Fjords are deep water. This is the deepest water along the coastline here. Resurrection Bay is 1,000 feet deep, and as you extend out into the Gulf of Alaska, the ocean floor actually rises. So the glacier has carved out the bottoms and deepened these bays out.
But they call them growlers. But these icebergs that you see out here, they're icebergs because of the size that they are. Now this little ice chunk in the back of the boat.
And as it generally works out, just about the time we're leaving the glacier is just about the time half the face falls in. So you folks might want to keep one eye out behind us here, watching the glacier. The other eye out in front of us, watching for any more whales we might come across.
At 5:36 p.m. on Good Friday, March 27, 1964, Alaska was hit with the largest seismic event in North America's recorded history. An earthquake that measured 9.2 on the revised Richter scale devastated the landscape. Massive tidal waves washed over the ruined land. Seward and the Kenai Peninsula were particularly hard hit.
I presume you can hear me. Is there any indication or sign of fire at Seward?
We received this report through the city manager here in Anchorage that both the oil tanks and docks are on fire at Seward.
When the ground quit shaking, Seward's real trouble began. The oil tanks along the waterfront blew up and were burning. Waves from the bay washed over the railroad dock. 40 rail cars of oil caught fire and exploded. Fiery oil covered the bay.
When we had the big earthquake, the rail yard was built on the fine alluvial sediments right next to the beachfront, and all that liquefied. And when this whole area dropped about 6 feet, the railroad dropped into the ocean. And that's living here in Alaska. We have these catastrophic extreme events that happen here. Life changes after that extreme event, and it's not the same. The railroad never rebuilt itself here. It took such a blow. If you go walking the beach fronts of Seward, you'll find twisted railroad ties. And so when the boats leave this harbor here, it's bittersweet in some respects. The harbor wasn't here previous to the earthquake, but underneath of us, there are railroad cars that were lost during the earthquake. So you're sort of leaving the harbor, but you're going over a rail car cemetery.
I really love fishing.
And as you can tell, I'm on my favorite fishing pal. The Alaskan thing is, especially during the summertime, is get out there and catch them while you can, you know, and this is what I got, to catch them when I can.
Thank you guys. I'm going to do a special song for you right now.
In his younger days, Harry left Alaska briefly to try out his act in the LA club scene. The rhythm of the railroad and the call of the wild brought him back home.
Singing conductor from the Alaska Railway, Mr. Harry Robb!
I really love what I'm doing. I enjoy people, as you can tell from singing in the different nightclubs and working on the passenger train, and I'm a people person.
Thank you. One thing, you got to get on Alaska Railroad with Harry Ross. You know, that's number one. You got to get your fishing pole out and you got to go fishing and you got to go and see the scenery here. It's very beautiful. I've been to a lot of places in my life and I've never seen the scenery like we've got here.
Alaska has a way of getting under your skin and in your blood. The next time you're lying sleeplessly and hear the sound of a distant train, remember these words by Robert Service. They have cradled you in custom, they have primed you with their preaching, they have soaked you in convention through and through. They have put you in a showcase, you're a credit to their teaching. But can't you hear the wild? It's calling you. Let us probe the silent places, let's see what luck betides us. Let us journey to a lonely land, I know. There's a whisper on the night wind, there's a star agleam to guide us, and the wild is calling, calling, let us go.